afternoon, morning, night. You may be catching the replay, so I got to give y'all a shout out too. For the replay team, hey, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to Doing the Doctorate. This is the show that inspires and informs doctoral pursuers, doctoral dreamers to go ahead and push through and get it done doing the doctorate. I'm Dr. Kesslyn. So happy to be here. So super happy, super happy to be here in this place. I am the host of this show, and I am an entrepreneur, mom, the PhD consultants. You all know all of that good stuff. Award-winning educator. So excited to be here. But you also know that I do not do this show alone. I have an awesome co-host sitting as the co-pilot of the show is the amazing, exceptional early childhood educator, mompreneur, founder of STEM Early LLC, the co-host with the coolest name. Dr. O is in the house. Hey, oh, what's up, O? How you doing?
Hey, I'm so good. I'm excited to be here. I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to talk tonight. That's why I'm here. I'm happy.
Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Hey, how was your week? We always start with how was your week, and we're always so super busy. How was your week? Are you coming down from all of your millions of trainings?
Yes, but I'm about to rev back up. In fact, I am packing my bags, taking a flight tonight to get to Michigan because tomorrow, the 22nd, 23rd, and the 24th, I will be in Michigan doing listening sessions on compassionate school leadership and what we can do to foster more compassion in the DEIB spaces, because there's a lot happening. And a lot of people are trying to shut this work down. And so it's crazy.
Maybe we'll touch on that a little later. But talk about shutting the voice down.
Yeah, it's like, and I don't know, if you follow me, several days ago, I did a live.
Pause. Where would we follow you, O? Where would we
follow me? You can follow me everywhere you find at STEM Early, or you can follow me personally on Arinthia Harris, PhD, but you can find me on STEM Early. But I did a post because in the last 4 months, I've had people, Black women in high leadership positions, call me personally and ask for prayer of some of the things that are happening in 2023. Where they're trying to create more inclusive spaces and just meeting all these unnecessary roadblocks. And it's not just people I know, but there are people in positions that are now stepping down, that are in these diversity, equity, inclusion spaces it's just
being pushed out. I have friends who are being pushed out.
Yeah, being pushed out of spaces. Yes. And it's like, and I did a live because I was like, is it just me, or are Black women in leadership positions, especially trying to create and foster more diversity and inclusion, are they being pushed out? Are their voices being silenced? And it's just, so I'm excited about the work that we're doing through with a partnership with Yale University through a SAMHSA grant, just going into community.
Come on and do what doctors do. You should have been on the doctor shout out for the day. Sorry, keep going. Yes, do what doctors do.
And doing some listening sessions and listening to teachers, students, and parents, and just to hear, what do you think is going on? And so I'm excited about it. And we're going into some high need areas in Michigan, and then we're also going into some areas where some book banning is happening. So I'm excited to do that this week. So I've been resting. The last couple of episodes, I said I've been resting, and now we're revving up. So I travel this week, I travel next week, and I travel the first 2 weeks of June.
Come on, do what doctors do. Come on, doctor on duty. I love it. I love it. The amazing work that we do. Well, let us officially start the show with our Doing the Doctorate thought, and the thought is the relation. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so the thoughts that we have for the last few weeks have been on mental health. And today is no different. I was actually reading this morning. Somebody sent me a devotional thought, and I was reading it, and it connected to what we were talking about today. So here's the thought. The relationship that exists between the mind and the body is very intimate. And I love the word intimate. It's very intimate. The writer says, when one is affected, the other sympathizes. Mm.
Mm.
The relationship that exists between the mind and the body is very, very intimate. When one is affected, the other sympathizes.
That's
So you can't do one without impacting the other. What you do to take care of your mind also impacts the well being of your body. And sometimes we don't think of it that way. We think if I control and take care of my body,
good.
then maybe my mind is improved. But we don't necessarily think of it the other way around. But one reacts to the other. There is a correlation, doctors, between mental well-being and physical well-being, and vice versa, which is why in my book, I don't have it behind me today, but the first book, Doing the Degree of Persistence, I talk about mental well-being because there is a connection between mental health and physical health. So eat well and drink water and take care of your mind. Doc, what are your thoughts?
I mean, wow. What the first thing that came to me is weight loss is what they say 90% mental.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has to start in your mind. And Joyce Meyer says it all the time, where the mind goes, the man follows. Where the mind goes, the man follows. So you have to first, and Dr. Caroline Leaf does a lot of work in this area with the neurological and our thoughts, and how thoughts are things.
Yes.
And thoughts produce in our actual bodies. And so we really have to take care of our mental state, because sometimes we think having a list and doing all the box checky things will get us to where we need to be, but it doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And behavior modification without mental transformation doesn't work.
Wait, I need to have my pen. Say it again. Behavior
Behavior
modification
without mental transformation doesn't work.
doesn't work.
It
Power,
doesn't.
power.
It
I'll
doesn't.
read it again. There is a intimate relationship between the mind and the body. When one is affected, the other sympathizes. So take care of your mind. Take care of your mind. So, doctoral
Wow.
roll call, roll call, roll call. We always want to know who's joining us. If you are joining us either on the live or the replay,
Yes.
put it in the chat. We want to use this time to empower other folk who are watching to say, yes, you can get a doctoral degree in this area. You can get a doctoral degree in that area. We want to highlight all of the areas that people are watching where people can get a doctoral degree. So if you're watching live or replay, put it in the chat. We want to hear from you. And listen, next week's show, I'm super excited about next week's show. Next week's show, we are going to shout out those people who reply to my Facebook and Instagram post. If you tell me you just graduated,
yes,
please type in your name, your degree. We're going to shout you out. Hopefully, if we receive that information in time, your name will be called out on the show. Next week, we are celebrating graduates. Hey.
This
So
is
if you're
season.
graduating, type it below. We want to shout
Congrats,
you out.
docs.
Yes. We want to shout you out. So I'm excited about that.
Yay.
Today's doctor on duty. I am every week. We spend a little time to shout out a doctor who is doing dynamic work in the world, a person who has gotten their doctoral degree and they are making a dynamic difference in the world. So we want to give homage to those folk who inspire, inform, and impact the community. And today we have a good one. Oh, we have a good one. This doctor inspired me. I shouldn't say how long ago it was for her sake. I don't mind. I was an undergrad.
Okay.
And she came back to talk to my class about some of the amazing work that she does. And I've been following her for the last years. She is doing the work of doctors, and her name is Dr. Kim Logan Nolan. Let me just give you all of her letters and alphabet.
All the
She
alphabet.
is a PhD, an LPC, a BCPC, a CCFC, an ACAD, an IAMFC, an MFT, and an AAFLP. Now, what all of those letters mean, I do not know. I just know she is a doctor who is highly certified and
Right.
highly qualified, but most folk call her Dr. Kim. She is the president of Kim Logan Communications, Inc. For the last 35 years, she has been meeting the needs of hurting individuals and families as a Christian family therapist, a counselor in her own private practice, and a trainer, speaker all around the world. Her trainings and her speeches leave you wanting more every time. She holds a bachelor's degree in special education, a master's of arts degree in family and guidance counselor, and she holds a doctorate in philosophy in oral and interpersonal communications and clinical family counseling. Dr. Kim
Wow.
is amazing. She is a professor of speech communications, talking about somebody who's doing the work.
Right.
She's at Wayne County Community College. Among her other responsibilities, she serves as a host of Making It Work television on 3ABN's Dare to Dream network. She is a consistent contributor to Message Magazine. She's contributed to Essence Magazine and several other publications. She has 6 published books, hosts her own counseling advice talk show called Live to Be Well, and she volunteers with her church and her community. When we're talking about somebody who is doing the doctorate, Dr. Kim Logan Nolan is doing what doctors do. And we salute her today. Why, Doc? She did that.
She did all of that.
She did all. No, she's doing all of that.
Listen,
she's amazing. And I will also say, because she said this publicly, she is a breast cancer survivor.
Wow.
So she is now embracing, as if she wasn't doing enough before.
Right.
She is now embracing life with a whole new level of enthusiasm and commitment to her purpose. Dr. Kim, we salute you.
We salute you.
You're doing it. You're doing it. Listen, there may be other doctors who are in the community who are actually doing the work. We would love to hear about them so we can shout them out. Send me an email to Dr. Kesslyn at thephdconsultants.com with a little bit about them so we can shout them out. Hey, she's doing that.
She's doing that. Listen,
she is doing it. She is, yeah. She does a lot. Listen, she makes me tired. Okay.
I was like, how many letters? That she has
all 26. Right. Right. Listen.
Wow.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing. She has about 42 letters behind her name when you put them all together.
Oh my God.
Oh, mercy. So anyway, so she is our doctor on duty. Doc,
listen.
Talk to me. What's happening in the world?
So listen, we have this segment called Call the Doc. So like what does doing the doctorate look like practically in your life, right? So we just heard all about Dr. Kim and all the many fascinating things she's doing. And so now it's time for us to call you out, call myself out. Yeah. What are we doing? And so I want to go and instead of taking not necessarily a popular current event, but taking what her TV show, it said Live to Be Well.
Yes.
What does Live to Be Well look like in your research? What does it look like for you? And for me, I know there's a hot topic right now of banning books, right? And banning information. And I think for
subjugating knowledge,
all of that. And so I think for me, living to be well is continuing to fight for the access of information. for everyone, because you don't know what you don't know. And if I can't have access to that, how can I grow?
Yes.
And so I think we need to, as doctoral students and doing the work, we need to join the fight. Like, and what can we do personally to make sure information is not subjugated and that people have access to books, that children have access to books so they can, as Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop says, the whole idea of windows and mirrors, and how students need both windows and they need mirrors so they can see themselves reflected and they can see others. And it just, what saddens me in 2023 is as we try to provide more mirrors to students of color and Black, Indigenous, and students of color, we're hitting a wall. And it's so frustrating.
It is.
It's just very frustrating because it's like, we know that students need mirrors in which to see themselves. And we know that students of color and Black and Indigenous students have few mirrors.
Yeah.
Accurate mirrors.
That part, Doc.
Let's start there. Accurate mirrors. And it seems like
not redacted mirrors, redacted stories taken. Yeah. I felt some help coming.
Listen, I was working with the NEA, is it NEA? National Indian Education Association.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
NIEA.
NIEA. I was like, I'm missing a letter. Dr. Kim took all the letters. I was missing a letter. So I was working with the NIEA and just working with them. The stories that have been told about their history made me reflect on the stories that have been told about my history. And the fact that that I wanted to, don't judge me, y'all, but I wanted to go back to slavery days because it was so romanticized.
What?
Yeah. Like Gone with the Wind was like my favorite movie. And I was like, I just want to be in Gone with the Wind. And not thinking, I want to go back as a white woman. No, I wanted to go back as me.
Wow.
Because
it was wonderful. It was romanticized. The narrative was shifted.
I could be what's her name? Hattie McDaniels, I think, played Mammy or I was like, I could be her daughter. What kind of foolishness? But again, when you romanticize and you don't give accurate reflections of truth, children's view is skewed.
Yes.
And so we're trying to undo that in our spaces. And so I'm just calling out all the doctors right now and say, please join the fight in whatever way you can, because we need full access to information and knowledge. And so if you're not, as a doctoral pursuer, as someone whose lifelong journey is in research and information, like, you need to be aware this is your fight.
Absolutely. If you are a pursuer of truth, then why does truth have to be hidden under a rock? Why can't truth be shared? That's what research is. Research is a desire to put truth in the forefront so that we can address it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be pretty, but it's truth.
It's truth.
Something that is not addressed will fester, mold, won't be positive. Our goal as researchers, as doctors, is to understand what the truth is so that we can address it in a way that promotes, supports everybody's development.
Yeah, everybody.
But if we hide it, it's going to mold and it's going to fester and it's going to stink and it's going to be really nasty.
Right. And you can't live to be well in that state.
Absolutely.
So when she said live to be well, I'm like, in order to live to be well, I need to have access to information. Because
Yes.
if what our quote said, there's an intimate relationship between the mind and the body. So what I'm feeding my mind is affecting my body. So if I don't have accurate, truthful information to feed my mind, and especially, I'm sorry, I'm early childhood, especially to feed the minds of students birth to
Yes.
5 in those critical development stages, then our babies and our children will not live to be well.
That's right.
And that's why you have high rates of suicide in elementary school,
Mm.
right? You have depression in first and second graders. You have kindergarteners saying things like, I'm so dumb, I'll never be anything. Why is this happening? Because the mind is connected to the body. And if we're
Yes.
not feeding them
Yes.
proper narratives of empowerment, right? Then what are we really doing? So it is, and somebody else, oh, that's not my area of research. What?
Yeah. It's all connected.
It's
All connected.
connected. So it's your fight. You can't live to be well if we don't have access to information. So I'm calling all the
Absolutely.
doctors to join this fight to ensure that everyone has access to information. You may not agree with it. I'm reading some books now by people that I couldn't be more different with. I couldn't disagree more with. But if I don't read where they're thinking, what their thought processes are,
Yeah.
then my biases will continue to thrive, because biases thrive in echo chambers. And your social media ain't nothing but an echo chamber.
See, you just dropped these little, you just drop biases thrive in echo chambers. Y'all,
Yes.
did y'all write that down? Listen, Dr. O, biases thrive in echo chambers.
They
Yeah,
do. They
absolutely.
do.
Absolutely. And you need to allow yourself to be exposed to alternative thinking.
Yes.
So you don't have to agree with it, but allow yourself to be exposed to it so you can know how other people think, and we can have a discussion and hopefully come to some common ground. But by burying truth, whether you agree with it or not, we're not helping anybody.
No.
We're not helping anybody.
No.
Biases thrive in echo chamber. If the goal is to dismiss the bias,
Mm.
overcome the bias, we have to acknowledge that it exists. And that's the hard part of this DEI work,
Yeah.
right? People don't want to acknowledge
Knowledge.
difference, and difference makes us all better and stronger when we respect it,
It does.
right?
And you cannot change what you will not acknowledge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a call. That's a call to the doctors. That was good. That was good. Good, good. Good, good. Good, good. Thanks, Doc.
You're
Thanks, Doc.
welcome.
It really connects to our doctor's orders for today. And it really connects. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, right? And so in this month, last week, we talked about that between 40 and 50% of doctoral pursuers suffer from depression or anxiety, clinical depression or anxiety. This week, I'm going to give you another challenging statistic. Hold on. Hold on. Approximately 30% of doctoral pursuers are at risk of developing a psychiatric disorder.
Oh, wow.
30%, approximately 30% of doctoral pursuers are at risk of developing a psychiatric disorder. I was doing a training a week or two ago now, and one of the persons in the training who was a doctor, graduated, talked about a person in his doctoral cohort who had a psychiatric break. And he said, eventually she graduated, but she has never been the same. 30% of doctoral pursuers are at risk of developing a psychiatric disorder. So, what I want to order you, not that I can order you to do anything, but what I want to encourage you to do is consider your mind body connection. The author this morning, and I had it in our thought, said the relationship again that exists between the mind and the body is very intimate. When one is affected, the others sympathize. The other part, sympathize. The condition, furthermore, she says, the condition of the mind affects the health to a far greater degree than many realize. Many of the diseases from which man and woman suffer are the result of mental depression,
Wow.
grief, anxiety, discontent, remorse, guilt, distrust. They all tend to break down the life forces and invite decay and death. Woo! Now, when you think about the doctoral journey, the hardest part for me of the doctoral journey were the days when I got feedback. Feedback on what I thought was my masterpiece. Right? And it came back with all kinds of red and questions. And the chairperson was a wonderful person who wrote in green. But the impact was just difficult. The edits were hard, and it felt like someone called my child ugly. I always say to
That's a great analogy, though.
I'm coaching. Yeah, it's like somebody looked at your baby and said, "That's so ugly," because you put your heart, mind, and soul into this journey. Those were difficult days. So I understand the depression and the anxiety around even getting feedback during this journey. I want to leave you with one consideration. Understanding that there's a connection between mind and body. The challenge for you today, the doctor's order would be for you to create and control the narrative. Create and control the narrative. We are wonderfully and fearfully made. Our being is controlled of mind, heart, mind, soul, and strength, or body. Heart, mind, soul, and strength. We are able to create because we were made to be creative in our heart, mind, soul, and body. I want you to think about all of the people who have experienced adversity. And I'm not just including the challenge of getting negative feedback on an article or a chapter. I'm talking about those who've had who've been dismembered, those who've had a car accident and their cognitive abilities are no longer the same, those who face such adversity that it really minimizes or puts a constraint on how we would view this negative feedback. And yet, from our dissertation, and yet, these folks somehow walk away, some of them, with such a positive outlook on life.
Yeah.
Right? They have accepted the fact that this is what it is, and they have chosen to create and control what they will do, even in their state of adversity. Right? If they can control their narrative and create a new lens from which to see life, then so can we. We are able to control our heart, mind, soul, and physical being, our strength. I want you to think about, in spite of all the challenges that come your way, I want you to create a positive narrative and control that thing. Now, by controlling it, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I was just talking to a person yesterday who's struggling with depression. And I said, I get it. I have my days too, but I'm choosing to control it by walking, eating healthy, channeling my thoughts in a positive way. I'm choosing to control as much as I can because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I've been created to be a creator, right? So I'm going to choose to create. Pull my heart, my mind, my soul, and my strength together. When my heart wants to go one way, I'm going to take control with my mind. When my mind wants to think certain negative thoughts, my heart's going to say, no, God created me this way. I'm a good person. I may be a sinner, but I am saved by grace. That's another sermon. Let me not preach. I want to encourage you to create and control your narrative. I want to encourage you to infuse hope
Yes.
and courage
Yes.
and strength and goodness and patience and long suffering as a part of your positive narrative. I hope that makes sense.
Perfect sense. That's
Life is going to happen.
so good.
You have the opportunity to create and control your response to life.
That's good. That's
A
good.
merry heart
That's good.
does good like a medicine. That's it.
That's
I
so
hope
good.
it makes sense.
That's it. Boom. And you know what?
Yeah.
Your ability to control. So consumption is directly correlated to control. So what
Mm.
you consume is directly correlated to your ability to control the narrative. So
Yes.
we have to, when you say control, that means we have to guard our gates, and we have to
Yes.
watch what
We
we're
talked about that a little last week, right?
right.
Put
We
those protective.
put those boundaries up. And so
Yes.
somebody asked me, like, well, when it comes to all this negative stuff, how do I know if I'm consuming too much current events, too much news? And I wrote this to them, and I'm going to read it to you. I
Sure.
said, when pity turns to panic, when compassion turns to consternation, when being sympathetic morphs into being scared, you've consumed too much. What
Wow.
you focus on magnifies. And
And when you become apathetic, because
mm,
sometimes we consume so much that we just think it's the norm and where there's nothing we can do and we're apathetic.
like school shootings,
Listen,
the apathy is real.
it's
And
real.
it's scary that it's that real.
Yeah, it is. Doc, and for me, in order to control my narrative, I used to watch the news all the time. But within the when COVID came and some of the other schools, I had to say, you know what? You're you're I wasn't becoming desensitized. I actually was becoming depressed.
Depressed.
So I had to minimize
Mhm.
the amount of news consumption that I had. It was
Yeah.
too much for me.
Yeah.
Now I'm back.
Hmm.
I watch a little bit, but even when I sense that this is too much, I have to turn it off.
Right. Because you're controlling the narrative is physical.
Yeah.
Consumption is mental. So if we
Mm,
tie it all together and we say they're connected,
yeah.
then we have to watch what we're putting in to our minds so that we can create and control a narrative that will help us live well.
Absolutely. Come on. I saw, as my daughter would say, I saw what you did there. I saw what you did
Did
there.
you see
Come
how
on, full circle.
that? Okay. Just saying.
Alon would say, did you see what I did there? I saw what you did there. Come on. Come on. Oh, that's why you're the doctor. Come on. That was good. That was
Good
good.
stuff.
That
Good
was good.
stuff.
Create and control your narrative. Don't let it get you down. Create and control your narrative. Doc, house calls. Where you going? Where you
I'm
going?
going to
What you
Michigan.
doing?
I'm going to
Hey.
Michigan. So I catch a plane tonight, and I'll be in Michigan tomorrow morning, and I'll be there Monday through um, Wednesday, and going to two or three different schools and different. So we're like driving all
You know
around
what? I
Michigan.
want to come with you one time.
So exciting. So that's what I'm doing. I'm excited.
I want to come.
Yeah, come
Maybe
on.
not this trip, but I want to come one trip. I just want to see O in action. Y'all listen. She doesn't even know I'm gonna say this. I saw a video of O in action. I was like, oh,
What? Oh no.
I was so I was excited and I wasn't even there.
That is so funny.
I was like, I want to go. I want to be in the audience.
Thank you.
So
So sweet.
whenever you get a chance to, whenever you make a house, whenever O makes a house call in your area, whatever you need to do, wherever you are, put your stuff down and go.
Y'all,
Go and watch O. Do you see what I did there?
I
Go and watch O. Come on, come on.
I
I'm
need
just
that.
trying to catch up.
That's good marketing. That's good marketing.
That hey,
I like that.
write it down. Where's your
What,
book?
what are you doing? What are you up to this week?
I am actually in a place of calm and renew. I am in Virginia at my parents' home.
Nice.
And I'm just going to be relaxed for a minute before I hit the rat race again.
Nice.
So I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I have some things coming up June. I'm supposed to be presenting something in Canada.
Mhm.
So I have some things coming up. So I'm going to take a moment to breathe
Yes, and enjoy it.
and enjoy it and enjoy my parents. I won't say they are quite a few they are quite a few decades moving close to the century mark. So I'm
Mhm.
going to enjoy every moment that I can with them.
And relax. I vaguely remember you posting a picture of your parents' backyard,
Yes.
the peace and the
So
garden.
beautiful.
So enjoy,
Yeah.
and don't worry about jumping back to the rat race too quickly.
Oh, don't what type. I need don't worry. I won't.
Yeah.
I won't. This is just a season of reflection and renewal for me. And I'm good with it.
Yes.
I'm good with it. So yeah, so that's the house calls. Oh, I need to tell you all. I do have some things coming up in the summer.
Yes.
And we have our first virtual writing retreat. It's going to be very small, not going to accept a lot of folk into this cohort. The first one is going to be virtual, 3 days. So the second will be in person, June 11th through 18th in the Washington, D.C. area. And the third will also be in person at the end of June. I want it to be in person at the end of June because there will be some folk who have not experienced DC, DMV during the 4th of July.
And
So,
it's so
and it's a whole thing.
it's a thing.
It's a whole thing. So email me at Dr. Kesslyn at the PhD Consultants. Go to the website, drkesslyn.com. You'll see information about that. Reach out to me. I don't have a lot of spaces. This is going to be a time for me to pour into you, review your whatever you read, your article. A lot of new doctoral folk are feeling like they want to do more, but they don't know what to do with their articles. So I'm going to be helping you with that. For those of you who are writing your dissertation and you just kind of you want your summer work to be important and valuable and beneficial, come to one of the writing sessions. Come to one of the writing sessions. They're going to be really good. Really,
Nice.
really, really good. I've had people to write 2 chapters in a week. Yeah, 2 chapters in a week. So they're going to be really good. So
Wow.
that's what I'm doing for the summer. And Doc, I think that's it.
That's it. And we're over time again.
Are we overtime again? We are.
But only
We just
by
need to
8
say
minutes.
the show is
Only
going to
by
be
8
40
minutes.
minutes.
We
Say it
do
again?
need, we're only over by 8 minutes
At this point.
at this point.
Right.
We do need to just say it's a 40-minute show.
It's a 40-minute
And
show.
we still going over.
And right. We have a lot to say. Listen, we have a lot to say. So anyway, I think that's it. Let me just end with this thought.
Yes.
I think I posted this. To get your doctoral degree is important. It's worth celebrating. But the reward is in using your degree to help others. So you want the reward. You don't just want the degree. You want the reward. All right. I just hit something. Sorry. That means it's time to go. That was the bell to end. Bing! That's what that was. Anyway, anything else? Oh, anything else you want to share before we go? All right. We're heading out. Next week, we are celebrating those who are graduating. So remember, if you've gotten your degree, you're getting your degree, put it in the chat. Respond to my post on Facebook, Instagram. We're going to celebrate you. We're super excited. All right. Thank you, everybody. This is Doing the Doctorate. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. Thanks. Oh, I'll talk to you later. Bye.